Hello, it's just about mid-autumn here at Homegrown Veg in the United Kingdom, and this is my 6 foot by 8 foot polycarbonate greenhouse, and as you can see it's empty. We've had a clear out. It's that time of year again. All the tomato plants are out. What I need to do now is get in there and check all the nuts and bolts for security, and that's what I'm going to do this afternoon. But I won't video that. Fortunately, I've got some video from a previous year. I'm going to dovetail that in right now, and this is me every autumn tightening nuts and bolts to secure the greenhouse to withstand another winter. These strips that you've seen around the greenhouse, these are edging strips for tiles. So if you've got a tile kitchen where there's an exposed edge, you'll have something like this, an edging strip. It's light aluminium. These are gold. The reason I got these gold edging strips was because they were just about giving them away, because apparently gold isn't in fashion anymore. So I can't recall what I paid for these. It was next to nothing. mind you, it nearly got me a criminal record, but that's another story, and I've done that on another video. But yeah, so what I found was these sheets that are captivated by the greenhouse members, they want to flex in high winds, and they flex in and they flex out. And if the uprights were to part slightly, in other words, if the nuts and bolts weren't tight, these could flop out, they could flip out, and then we are in trouble. So I put these extra strengtheners on. Okay. And my understanding was that the wind would be blowing outside the greenhouse and trying to blow these in, blow the panels in. But what I actually found from being in the greenhouse on a stormy day, that not only does it want to blow them in, it wants to suck them out. It wants to take them that way as well. So these strengtheners stop the panels blowing in. You can see that. But they're not actually secured to the panel. So if the panel wants to blow in that direction, if the wind wants to suck it out, these are not going to provide any strengthening, are they? And my first thought was, well, yeah, pop a few holes in here, some nuts and bolts, some fixings, that should do the job. But I thought, this greenhouse is weak enough to start with. It's not the strongest of greenhouses. And I didn't want to weaken these sheets anymore by drilling holes in them. So what I've actually done is, I put a run of sellotape across the gold member and the polycarbonate sheet. Now then, that's been on 12 months, doesn't seem to have deteriorated, and if I push this, normally it would push away from this gold bar unless it was secured to it, and if it was secured to it, it would take the gold bar with it, would it not? Check this out, I hope you can see this. See how that gold bar's moving? That's because it's sellotaped to the polycarbonate sheet, and the polycarbonate sheet, as it's trying to be sucked out, is being held in place by that gold bar. So they can't blow in and they can't be sucked out. At least that's what we're trying to achieve here at Homegrown Veg. Okay, now let me also show you a new support system that I installed this year. It's basically bamboos and strings. Let me cut you to some video that I shot earlier this year. That bamboo is threaded through the handles of the bags. So you could not lift that bamboo out, you could not pull that bamboo out vertically. So if I tie strings to it and pull it up, it ain't coming out. And neither would I be putting any stresses or strains on the tomato plants. The load would be taken by that bamboo. Now let's have a look along, because I actually threaded a bamboo through all the handles of all the bags for the length of the greenhouse. And just while we're at it, the other side of the greenhouse is actually roughly a mirror image in terms of what I'm growing to the side you're looking at. Okay, so where we've got a tomato plant growing in each of those bags, I've tied a string. I've taken that string up to the underside of the greenhouse. Now we'll have a look up there now and I'll show you how I've tied that off. So we're going to follow Big Daddy from the bag to the roof. And I'm hoping that you can actually see the string around the growing stem of Big Daddy. And that's where the support is. Okay. Here we are up in the roof, and I hope you can see that, but the string's tied off to a bamboo. Now you're saying, well, how have you fixed that bamboo to the underside of your roof? Well, I'm going to show you that as well. Give me a minute. So the diagonal you're looking at is one of the roof trusses. It's one of the members that goes from the side wall to the apex of the roof. I've simply run these bamboos from end to end, and everywhere it's crossed one of those members, I've clipped it to the member. I've just used a nut and bolt, and I'm not too sure, a little bit of strapping that I had, and I've fixed it to the underside. So that bamboo that you're looking at goes the length of the greenhouse, and everywhere it crosses one of those struts, it's fixed. And so coming off that bamboo along the length of the greenhouse are 6 strings that go to the bamboos that run along the base, sitting on top of the bags and through the fibre handles. They all pull tight, and so there's no stress on the tomato plant. What do you think? Looks as though it's working. Okay, so that was the new support system I installed, and what I would normally do now at this time of year is remove all the bags, or if I was growing in buckets, turn the soil out, probably turn it out onto a raised bed and let it overwinter under some chop and drop, and then go again next year. But what I've decided to do is I've decided to leave the soil in the bags, to leave the bags in the greenhouse, and to leave the strings in place that secure the bag to the underside of the roof. Hey, we've got a ground anchor. This greenhouse is going nowhere. Now let me cut you to some video of the Irish Sea, which I can see from where I'm standing now. So bear in mind, the wind that blows across the Irish Sea is a direct line to my greenhouse. So I need to make sure it isn't going to finish up in next door's garden. These are the land anchors. I'm hoping these will help keep this greenhouse on the ground. Check out this footage I shot. Okay, so as you can see, if we get another winter like that one, we'll be up against it. But the more precautions you take now, the more likely you are to have a greenhouse come next spring. This might be something you want to try. If you're growing in bags and you've got soil in your bags, you might want to use them as a land anchor. Now what I will do, I will turn these out in the spring of next year, tidy them up and reinvigorate them. But what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to cover them with a layer of chop and drop. This is grass and leaves, and we'll just let that sit on these bags for a few months, and whatever goodness comes out of that chop and drop will go into the mixture in the bag. And it's as easy as this. Okay, this is the mix. Grass and leaves. Grass is the green, leaves are the brown, autumn leaves. How's that? There you go. And we'll do no more with that now until the spring of next year. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed this video. I've enjoyed making it. It does tend to be a bit repetitive, does gardening, and if you're new to gardening you'll be finding that out now. But what I would say is this: if you have got a polycarbonate greenhouse, then you do need to take extra care that you're not going to lose it, and it isn't going to finish up in your neighbour's garden. And they're just a few tips, some of the things I've done to keep my polycarbonate greenhouse on the ground. But what I'm going to do is, I'm going to give you a link to a video that I shot a number of years ago, shortly after nearly losing this greenhouse in a few storms that came one after the other, bish bash bosh. And as usual, when the storm comes, it's the middle of the night and it's pouring down with rain, and you're having to fight to try and save your greenhouse. So it's better if you do it now than do it later. I'm going to give you a link to a video that I did some time ago, and it's the 10 things that you must do if you've got a polycarbonate greenhouse. 10 things that you must do, in my opinion, speaking from experience. I'll give you a link to that in the text below, and there'll be a link at the end of this video. Hey, hope you've enjoyed this video. I've enjoyed making it. Listen to this. Can you hear that? Am I the first person ever to play a tune on a greenhouse? If I had any musical talent, I'd play you a tune, but I haven't. Okay, so this is Homegrown Veg, signing out.